Let's deal with this without the smoke and mirrors, because not all black folks defended Carmelo Anthony after the stabbing. But enough of you did, blindly, emotionally, and recklessly, to drag the entire culture into the mud with him. And now the system ain't just going after him. They're sending a message to all of us. The case, one blade, two families, zero discernment. Carmelo and Austin Metcalf were both 17. Track meet, witnesses, cameras, one dead, one indicted. Carmelo admitted to the stabbing, even claimed self-defense. But instead of letting the process breathe, some of y'all turned this into a campaign, a spectacle, and a litmus test for who's really black and who's not. $500,000 raised, but not for the truth, but for tribal ritual. Let's talk receipts. Over $500,000 were raised for Carmelo, not because of verified injustice, not because the facts were clear, but because he was black, and that was all some of y'all needed to hear. Meanwhile, the victim's name barely made it into your captions. Y'all had GoFundMe links faster than the coroner had the report. Y'all came to social media and turned murder into marketing. Y'all really hit people's timelines with, he stood on business. That white boy shouldn't have touched him. Black boys tired of being disrespected. Those receipts are documented and recorded. Argue with your mama. No facts, just feelings. No discipline, just digital delusion. You didn't mourn him, you memed him. That wasn't justice, that was trauma bonding in high definition. And both men and women jumped in head first, posting, defending, deflecting, and praising the boy who might have thrown his entire life away in 5 seconds. That's why I say groupthink ain't culture, it's the collapse of it. This is why separation is necessary, because groupthink isn't loyalty, it's laziness with emotional seasoning. Y'all weren't standing up for black boys. You were standing up for the right to remain unaccountable. Some of y'all will defend anything as long as the person's black, even if it spits in the face of order, law, or integrity. You want to invoke ancestors? Then act like you have their discipline. You want to cry spiritual warfare? Then stop protecting demons just because they got the same skin tone as you. And some of us ain't clapping. We ain't all lost. Some of us sit still before we speak. We still wait for the full picture before choosing a side. Still believe that being black doesn't mean being morally blind. You can grieve both boys. I can call this situation tragic without co-signing foolishness. I can be loyal to my people and still reject chaos. Because love that refuses correction is just cowardice in a costume. So let me say this with full clarity. If you posted in blind support without knowing the full story, you were out of pocket. If you mocked the victim or his family just to look real online, you betrayed your own spiritual reflection. And this is what happens when emotional reflex replaces righteous restraint. You defended chaos, and we all saw you do it. And now they gonna crucify that boy. Not just for what he did, but for how y'all reacted to it. So to every man and woman who helped turn a stabbing into a show, may your spirit be humble. May your tongue be restrained. May your loyalty return to truth instead of tribe. Don't call this unity. Don't call this injustice. Don't wrap dysfunction in culture and expect the Most High to co-sign it. Because over here, we don't move with emotion. We move with order, discernment, spiritual law. This ain't about taking sides. This is about choosing standards. And I'm standing with the side that says, if it's wrong, no matter who did it. I don't care about your gender. I don't care about your skin color. And may the blindfolds burn with every false thing we call loyal. Burn it. I want to address some of the comments I received from my Carmelo Anthony video. But let me be clear from the top with this. Because I never said Carmelo was guilty. I never said the system was fair. I never said white people were innocent. But you know what I did say on camera? I said some of you are reacting off pain, not principle, and that's why we lose. And look at what came out of y'all mouth. You a coon. You tap dancing for white folks. You hate your own kind. The victim was white, so who cares? White folks defend theirs, so why can't we? You sound like an immigrant. You must be trying to go viral. Why you judging before the trial? He got bullied, so it's justified. It's karma for 400 years. We finally got revenge. Even the dad forgave him. You the type of black man they love. He had it coming. Why you ain't this mad when white folks do worse? And right there, based off your comments alone, y'all told on yourselves. You didn't want the truth, and I knew that from the jump. Y'all wanted blood. Didn't care about the facts, you just wanted a fantasy. You don't want justice, you just want revenge dressed up in hashtags and fake GoFundMe activism. Some of y'all laughed at that boy's death like it was a halftime show. Some of y'all cheered while his father cried. And you thought that made you down, right? You thought that made you righteous, right? Nah, that just made you spiritually bankrupt. So let's deal with some hard truth. No, white dysfunction is not a license for black dysfunction. And I wish y'all stop bringing them up every time y'all bullshit gets called out. No, white people do it too is not an ethical standard. No, defending someone just because they black isn't unity. It's emotional tribalism. No, clapping at death while hiding behind stand your ground isn't justice. And no, calling me a coon for telling the truth, it doesn't make you deep. It just makes you weak. And if the only way you feel validated is by watching someone else die, then the white man ain't your biggest problem. Your spirit is. And y'all don't even realize it. I mean, y'all gave the DA everything they needed. Everything from your TikToks, your memes, your celebratory comments, your blind support. And now they making an example out of him and blaming it on you. Because some of y'all couldn't sit and wait for the facts. Instead, you traded wisdom for emotion, righteousness for retaliation, your dignity for internet attention. Hell, some of you even traded in spiritual discernment for racial cosplay. And y'all love to say white folks defend theirs. Cool. So now y'all want to model dysfunction after your so-called oppressors now, huh? You think that's justice? No, that's imitation. And it proves why Black America needs separation. Not just from white supremacy, but from black chaos lovers like some of you. Because the real issue ain't just what happened at that track meet. It's what happened online afterwards. And I called that out in my first video. Everything from the mockery, the jokes, the spiritual illiteracy, the trauma bonding, the excuses. Y'all turned the homicide into a halftime show and then got mad when I said this ain't right. But let me tell you what's really happening. Because some of y'all are so used to injustice that when something happens to a white kid, you don't even care what happened. You just celebrate like it's reverse karma or something. But karma don't work like that. Karma don't co-sign lies, God don't bless bloodlust, and real warriors don't dance on people's graves. Y'all really thought that was black power when it was really black panic. Because you've been conditioned for so long, you can't even really tell the difference between justice and vengeance anymore. But let me make this plain. I don't care who's white, who's black, or who's mad. I care about who's righteous, who tells the truth when it ain't popular, who don't throw discernment out the window when their trauma gets triggered like some of yours did. And I'm not moved by your insults at all. You can call me a coon, a sellout, a puppet, a robot, or not one of us. And guess what? I'm not. I'm not with y'all because y'all are not with the truth. Some of you let your emotions override your ethics. You let your trauma override your intelligence. Some of you even let your pain override your prophecy. That's why this platform is called Divine Separation. Because I'm not standing next to chaos and calling it loyalty. I'm not defending dysfunction and calling it unity. And I'm not compromising principle just to feel like I belong. I belong to the Most High, not your silly mob. So you can keep your fake solidarity, keep your clout chasing defense funds, keep your Twitter theology and your spiritual immaturity. Because over here, I walk differently. I don't cheer for death. I don't weaponize my race to excuse evil. And I don't build my self-worth on getting one back from the other side. Some of you said white folks don't condemn each other publicly. And that's exactly the problem. That's how corruption grows unchecked. And a lot of you really think just because they do wrong, that gives us a license to do the same thing. Absolutely not. I'll never love my skin more than I love the truth. So yeah, I saw the comments, I heard your slander, and I caught your threats. And still, I say, I'm not with y'all. Because some of y'all ain't just lost. You're willfully deaf, dumb, and blind, emotionally driven, spiritually asleep, and you're morally exhausted. This is why divine separation had to be born. Because skin folk ain't always spirit folk. And bloodline don't equal battle lines. So judge me if you want, mislabel me if it helps you sleep better at night. But understand, I'd rather be hated with integrity than celebrated by the spiritually dead, which is what you are. Good day.